Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and, I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Right.
Okay, setting the scene.
Right. So you grab your coffee, you open your email, and you discover that the college degree you spent 4 long years earning has just, expired.
Oh, wow. Like a carton of milk.
Exactly like that. It is simply no longer valid. And for millions of professionals navigating the job market in 2026, that is not some wild nightmare.
No, it's really not.
That is the actual reality we are living in. So today, we are looking at this really fascinating stack of sources, including a recent audio transcript and some notes from a presentation on modern career survival strategies.
Yeah, and we're using those to try and understand a massive shift in how we work, which is called the rise of microlearning.
Right, microlearning, which, for you listening, this deep dive is designed specifically to help you navigate this.
Especially if you're an English learner trying to figure out how to survive in this new environment without burning out.
Exactly, because this is a fundamental change in how human value is measured in the workplace.
It really is. If you think about the traditional way we introduced ourselves professionally, it usually started with, well, where did you go to school?
Right, or what did you major in?
Exactly. That piece of paper was supposed to define your entire career. It served as this permanent stamp of approval.
But the sources we are looking at today make it very clear that this comfort is just completely gone.
Yeah, employers are no longer impressed by something you did a decade ago.
They are asking a much more urgent, immediate question, which is, what can you do for me right now, today?
And our mission for you, the listener, is to figure out how you can actually answer that question.
Because we want to help you understand how to stay relevant in a world where hard-earned skills can become entirely obsolete, meaning they are no longer useful at all in just 6 months.
Which is a reality that can cause a lot of anxiety, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds terrifying.
But the core message of our sources is actually very encouraging. We are going to explore a new, much less stressful way for you to learn important things.
Whether that involves mastering a new software program or, improving your English language skills.
Right. But to really understand this new era of microlearning, we first need to look at the mechanics of why the old way of learning is broken.
And the source material uses this brilliant analogy to explain this. It compares traditional education to a heavy meal.
A heavy meal. Yeah. So you go to a university, you sit down at the table for 4 years, and you just eat this gigantic, massive dinner of knowledge.
And then you step out into the real world, and you just hope that this one single meal keeps you full for your entire 40-year career.
Which is crazy when you think about it.
It's like eating a massive turkey dinner and saying, fantastic, I don't need to eat another bite until I retire at age 65.
Right. When you lay it out like that, the expectation sounds physically impossible.
It really does.
And yet, that was the foundational strategy of the global workforce for decades. You front load all your learning at the beginning of your life.
But in 2026, our sources argue that knowledge no longer functions like a heavy meal. Instead, knowledge is like oxygen.
Which completely changes the game.
I do want to push back on that just a little bit, though.
Sure, go for it.
Doesn't that heavy meal give you the necessary foundation? If I don't have that big 4-year baseline of knowledge, how do I even know what kind of oxygen I should be breathing?
Yeah, that's a fair point. And the foundational meal still matters for basic cognitive development. But it is no longer the thing that keeps you alive professionally.
Okay, I see.
A heavy meal is a one-time event.
Yeah.
Oxygen is a constant, ongoing necessity. You have to breathe it in every single day just to survive.
So the foundation might teach you how to chew your food, but the daily oxygen keeps your brain functioning in the present moment.
Exactly.
But why has this shifted so drastically? Why is the 6-month expiration date on our skills happening right now?
Well, it really comes down to 2 major forces moving faster than human beings can naturally adapt.
Okay, what are they?
Artificial intelligence and the merging of entirely different industries.
Right.
Just consider how AI used to operate. It would get a major update, maybe, once a year.
Sure.
Now, AI tools are updating their capabilities on a weekly basis.
It's so fast.
It is. A project management software program that you fully mastered in January might have a completely different user interface and a brand new set of automated functions by March.
Wow. So relying on static knowledge, the frozen information you memorized 3 years ago means you are essentially trying to hold your breath.
And you cannot hold your breath for long in a market where the ground underneath your profession is constantly shifting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We are seeing technology blending seamlessly with healthcare and finance blending with environmental science.
Right. Everything is overlapping.
You cannot rely on a single, unchanging set of skills, because the job itself changes every time an industry merges.
So breathing in fresh, daily knowledge is not just a good idea, it is the only viable survival strategy.
Exactly.
Which naturally brings up a fairly terrifying logistical problem, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Well, if knowledge is oxygen, and we have to breathe it every single day to survive, how do we do that without completely drowning?
Right, because there's so much out there.
Yeah, I cannot be expected to breathe in the entire atmosphere all at once. There is simply too much information.
And that is the exact problem the modern workforce is trying to solve. This is where we shift from the panic of obsolete skills to the actual solution.
Okay, I'm ready for the solution.
The answer, according to the presentation notes, is the rise of the micro-credential.
Micro-credentials.
Yeah.
So rather than spending 2 or 3 years getting a broad master's degree in general business management, professionals are now pursuing mini certifications.
Yes, they are setting very specific, highly focused niche areas.
And the sources highlight 2 great examples of these niche areas to show just how targeted they are.
Right. The first one is AI ethics.
And the second is cross-cultural negotiation.
Just notice how narrow those topics are.
Yeah, it is not a broad degree in general technology. It is specifically about the ethical dilemmas of artificial intelligence.
It is a targeted tool for a specific problem.
And this ties into what seems to be the defining buzzword of the 2026 workplace.
Oh, yes. Just-in-time learning.
Just-in-time learning.
Yeah, which is a concept originally borrowed from manufacturing, actually. Factories would only order parts exactly when they needed them to build a car, rather than storing thousands of parts in a giant warehouse.
And now we are applying that to the human brain.
Exactly.
But I need you to clarify something for me, because this concept sounds almost too risky.
How so?
Well, are the sources actually suggesting that I shouldn't try to learn everything in advance?
Yes, essentially.
Like, the secret to survival is actually waiting until the very last minute, right until the job requires a skill to start learning it.
Well, it is not about waiting until the last minute out of laziness. It is about learning in the context of immediate application.
Okay, explain that a bit more.
For generations, the education system used a just-in-case model.
Right.
You spent months learning complex advanced calculus in high school just in case you decided to become an engineer 10 years later.
And most people never used it, and therefore they completely forgot it.
Exactly. So under the new model, if your company announces on a Tuesday that we are expanding into a new international market, you shouldn't panic about not having a 4-year degree in international relations.
So I just wait for that specific demand, and then I immediately seek out a micro-credential in cross-cultural negotiation.
Yes. Just-in-time learning is the ultimate defense mechanism against information overload.
Because if you try to learn everything just in case, your brain gets overwhelmed.
And it discards the information. But when you learn a highly targeted skill and then immediately apply it to a real-world problem the next day, you lock that knowledge into your long-term memory.
Man, that is a massive relief.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So we know what we need to learn, these highly specific micro-credentials, when the moment arrives. But how do we actually fit this continuous learning into a busy daily routine?
That's the real challenge.
Especially for you listening right now, if you are actively trying to master a complex, vast system like the English language.
Well, the biggest barrier to doing this successfully isn't a lack of time. It is an emotional barrier.
Oh, really?
It is guilt.
Ah, the study guilt. It is a universal experience.
It really is.
You tell yourself, okay, to really improve my English, I need to sit down at my desk, open my heavy textbooks, and study grammar for 2 straight hours tonight.
And then reality happens.
Right. You work late, you are exhausted, you have to cook dinner, and you simply do not have 2 hours of mental energy left. So you do nothing.
And doing nothing creates guilt.
Yeah, that guilt makes you feel like a failure, which makes you avoid studying the next day, too. It is a very destructive cycle.
But the source material offers a cure for this guilt by introducing the mindset of the Agile Learner.
Agile, meaning being able to move quickly, easily, and flexibly.
Exactly. According to the research in our sources, an Agile Learner operates on a completely different set of rules.
How so?
They understand that 15 minutes of immersive listening, perhaps just listening to this deep dive during your morning commute on the train, is fundamentally more effective than a massive, grueling 2-hour study session that you only manage to do once a month.
I'm going to be honest, 15 minutes almost feels too easy.
I hear that a lot.
When something is that short, my brain immediately tells me, this isn't enough time to make a real difference. You are just pretending to study.
It feels like cheating.
Yeah. Why is shorter actually better here? What is happening in the brain?
It comes down to biological mechanisms and something called the compounding effect of knowledge.
Okay, let's bring that down.
The human brain is incredibly focused on saving energy. It has a process called synaptic pruning.
Synaptic pruning.
Yes. Essentially, your brain looks at all the information you take in and decides what to keep and what to delete based on frequency.
So the brain is constantly cleaning out the garage, throwing away things it thinks we don't need anymore.
That is a perfect way to put it. When you practice English for 15 minutes every single day, you're constantly sending a biological signal to your brain.
You were saying, I use this pathway every 24 hours.
Right. This information is vital for survival. Keep these neurological connections strong.
You are breathing the oxygen daily, so the brain recognizes the pattern.
But if you wait and do a rare, painful 4-hour study binge on a random Sunday, your brain gets completely overwhelmed.
It looks at that massive pile of information and says, well, we haven't needed this for the past 29 days. This was probably just a one-time emergency.
And then it deletes most of it to save energy. Daily consistency literally builds stronger physical structures in your brain than rare exhaustion does.
Wow, that changes the entire perspective. Zero guilt if you only have 15 minutes today, because mathematically and biologically, that is the superior way to learn.
It really is.
No, to truly survive and thrive as an Agile learner, you need the specific English vocabulary to talk about these concepts with your colleagues, managers, and future employers.
And the transition to this new Agile method can certainly involve a steep learning curve.
Let's pause right there, because that is the first key phrase from our sources that we need to unpack for our listeners.
Okay, let's do it.
A steep learning curve. You used it perfectly. It means the process is incredibly difficult right at the beginning.
Yeah, think of a literal mountain. If the side of the mountain is steep, it goes straight up into the air very quickly.
It is incredibly hard to climb.
And it requires a massive amount of energy just to take the first few steps.
The source gives a highly relatable workplace example for this. It says, switching to the new AI workflow had a steep learning curve, but it was worth it.
Right. So the new software felt impossible and frustrating on Monday morning, but once you climbed over that initial steep mountain, the tool became incredibly useful and saved you time.
It is a great phrase to use in an interview or a meeting because it shows you understand that difficult challenges are temporary. It shows resilience.
Absolutely.
Here is another scenario that happens all the time in the modern office.
Let's hear it.
Let's say I'm a graphic designer and my job involves drawing two-dimensional logos.
Okay.
My boss comes to me and says I need to start creating 3D animated logos. I'm still a designer, but I need a micro-credential to learn that new software.
Right.
Our sources use two specific words for acquiring new skills: upskill and reskill. Which one is the graphic designer doing?
That designer is upskilling.
Upskilling.
Yes, and this is a crucial distinction for professionals to make. The difference is entirely in the prefix, the little letters at the start of the word.
Right, the up part.
Exactly. The prefix up means improving or elevating your existing skills.
Yeah.
You are staying in the same general career path, but you are moving up by adding more advanced techniques.
So I'm still building the same tower. I'm just adding a new shiny floor to the top of it.
That is a great way to visualize it. Now let's contrast that with reskill.
Okay, reskill.
The prefix re often means to do something again, or in this context, to do something completely differently from scratch.
So reskilling means learning entirely new skills for a completely different job.
Exactly. If that same graphic designer looks at the 2026 job market and decides, I don't want to design logos anymore. I want to become a cybersecurity database manager.
They cannot just add a new floor to their tower.
No, they have to learn complex computer coding languages from zero. They have to build a brand new house on a completely different street. That is reskilling.
Both are vital survival strategies, but they require very different amounts of time and energy.
For sure.
Which leads us to the ultimate goal of all this microlearning. The final vocabulary word from our sources today is future-proof.
Future-proof. We use the suffix proof to describe protection.
Like waterproof.
Exactly. If a watch is waterproof, water cannot penetrate or damage it. If a recording studio is soundproof, outside noise cannot get in.
Therefore, when a skill or a career is future-proof, you have designed it so that the unpredictable future and all its crazy technological changes cannot destroy its value.
The source presentation actually asks the audience a very direct question. Is your current skill set future-proof?
Meaning, will the things you know how to do today still have economic value in 5 years?
Right.
let me try to put all these concepts together into one natural sentence, just to model how you might use this vocabulary in a real-world conversation with a manager.
Okay, give it a shot.
If I were discussing my career goals, I might say, if I want to future-proof my career, I need to upskill regularly, even if the new technology has a steep learning curve.
That flows perfectly.
Thanks.
And what is really powerful about that sentence is the subtext. When you use vocabulary like that in a professional setting, you are sending a clear signal to your employer.
You're telling them, I am an agile learner, I do not rely on static knowledge, and I am not afraid of change.
It shows you understand how the game is played now.
So let's summarize the core message of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
The main takeaway from all the notes and transcripts we reviewed today is this. Stop waiting for the perfect time to sit down and start a massive, exhausting course.
The perfect time does not exist.
And the heavy meal will not save you.
Instead, you must fully embrace the micro.
The source material actually leaves us with a weekly challenge, and I want to pass this challenge directly to you, the listener.
Yes, this is a great exercise.
Today, your challenge is to pick one tiny, specific thing that you do not know right now. It could be a new English idiom you heard at work, or it could be a simple automated keyboard shortcut on your computer software.
But the rule is that you spend exactly 10 minutes on it.
Not an hour.
Not 30 minutes, just 10 focused minutes.
Spend 10 minutes learning it, write it down to document it, and then figure out how you can apply it immediately.
By doing this, you identify one new micro skill you can effectively stack onto your resume.
It really is that simple. Just 10 minutes of breathing in fresh oxygen.
It is a brilliant, low-stress way to apply the compounding effect immediately. You avoid the guilt, and you start building those neurological connections today.
It is highly practical. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over.
Okay, I love a provocative thought.
Something that builds on our sources, but pushes the implications of this new world a little further.
Because every major shift in human behavior brings new complications.
Exactly. We have clearly established that knowledge is now oxygen. We are surviving on fast, 10-minute, just-in-time micro skills. We learn a tiny piece of information, we apply it to solve a problem at work, and we move on to the next emergency.
Yep. That's the agile way.
But if society becomes entirely obsessed with instant micro-credentials, what happens to the deep, slow, heavy meals of learning?
Ooh, that is a profound question.
Is there still a place for years-long philosophical mastery in a world that only rewards speed and immediate application?
Right. Like if you only learn history or science or literature in 10-minute disconnected slices just to pass a test or complete a project, do we eventually lose something fundamental about human wisdom?
Does our ability to see the massive, complicated big picture disappear when we only focus on the micro?
That is a really interesting concern.
It is something for you to think about as you navigate this incredibly fast-paced modern world.
It suggests that while we absolutely must breathe oxygen every day to survive the job market, there may still be moments in our lives where we need to sit down for a long, slow feast of knowledge, just to keep our humanity intact.
Beautifully said. Well, we hope this has been an encouraging and helpful exploration for you.
We really do.
Taking the time to join us for this deep dive today was exactly the kind of micro-learning, agile habit that you need to succeed.
Absolutely.
Keep taking those daily breaths of fresh oxygen, do not let the study guilt stop you, and keep learning.